Well, I think this is now giving Philadelphia the best wide receiver trio in football. I mean, the Eagles have the best wide receiver trio with A.J. Brown, Devontae, and Jahan Dotson. This was a really good offense to begin with. If Dotson just replicates what he did, which is 50 or so catches and 500 yards at that number 3 wide receiver spot, I don't know of anybody in the NFC that can line up and play man-to-man coverage against those 4 pass catchers.
Well said, Dan Orlovsky. What a move that was by the Philadelphia Eagles to acquire Jahan Dotson in a trade from the Washington Commanders. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about how Howie Roseman stole Jahan Dotson from the Washington Commanders. You also look at the fact that the Eagles were able to acquire a 5th-round pick on top of getting Jahan Dotson in that deal. With that trade happening now, the Philadelphia Eagles offense looks stacked on paper as they are one of the favorites to reach the Super Bowl this upcoming season. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. Will Jahan Dotson become successful on the Eagles? I believe it. I believe Jahan Dotson is going to be one of the better slot receivers in the National Football League. I already thought Jahan Dotson was a solid wide receiver too. You look at how the Philadelphia Eagles are absolutely loaded top to bottom. You look at how they've got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC in Jalen Hurts. You also look at how they have an elite running back in Saquon Barkley. They've already got 2 really good receivers in A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and they've got an elite tight end in Dallas Goedert, combined with the fact that their offensive line is already pretty good compared to other teams in the National Football League. Yes, I understand they lost Jason Kelce due to retirement, but the Eagles O-line is still pretty good compared to other teams in the NFL. They're just no longer the NFL's best offensive line. And you drop Jahan Dotson into the slot receiver role. I mean, holy cow, how are you going to stop this Philadelphia Eagles offense? You look at how the Eagles offense on paper is absolutely loaded top to bottom. You look at how Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are going to dominate the running game, which means you need to put guys in the box in order to slow down the run. However, you can't necessarily do that because now the Eagles have 4 primary weapons on the passing game. You look at how A.J. Brown, he's an elite wide receiver. He always gets open on his one-on-one matchups. You look at Devonta Smith, he's one of the best speed receivers in the game of football. And now you add Jahan Dotson, an underrated route runner that has speed written all over him. I mean, holy cow, how are you going to stop this Philadelphia Eagles offense? And you also have to remember that the offensive line is better than most teams in the NFL, which means Jalen Hurts will have time to throw the football. And you look at how the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be really good next year. I like the offensive coordinator hire they made in Kellen Moore. I know he didn't necessarily work out for the Chargers and that a lot of Cowboys fans criticized Kellen Moore, but he's a solid offensive coordinator. If nothing else, Kellen Moore is going to be a better offensive coordinator than Brian Johnson, because Brian Johnson was absolutely horrible in his role for the Philadelphia Eagles last year. They're also not going to have Matt Patricia in the building anymore defensively, so the Eagles defense should be better than what it was last year. As far as where I see the Eagles going this year, I believe they are going to win the NFC East division. You look at how it's basically a 2-team race in there. The Giants got no shot to win that division. You look at how the quarterback play is just so bad to the point that it doesn't even really matter if the rest of the roster is good whatsoever. You also look how the Washington Commanders, they're basically starting over with their rookie quarterback. I'm not even really sure what their plan even is, because you don't give up young receivers the way that they just did with Jahan Dotson. I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish in DC. First off, they get rid of a young quarterback in Sam Howell for very little so they can go ahead and draft Jaden Daniels, a smaller quarterback, but you're also placing him behind a bad offensive line. So I'm not really sure what the Commanders are even trying to accomplish. Maybe they get Brandon Ayuk in a deal from the 49ers. At least they salvage something in the deal, because right now it does not look good whatsoever for Commanders fans. And then of course you look at the Dallas Cowboys, who are an accident waiting to happen come January. I do think the Cowboys serve as the biggest threat to the Eagles in terms of stealing the NFC East division, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles have got to be the prohibited favorite to win that division. You look at how they have the best quarterback in that division. You also look at the fact that they have the best running back in that division. They also have the best tight end in that division, and their wide receiver core top to bottom is better than everybody else in the NFC East. Everything the Philadelphia Eagles have is the best compared to the other teams in the NFC East. You also look at how the Eagles defense has been revamped. They lost Matt Patricia in the offseason offseason, more like they fired him, but that's addition by subtraction. So you also look at how the Eagles defense is supposed to be better. They also got draft picks for Hassan Reddick, a guy that is currently staging a major contract holdout. So I like the move that the Philadelphia Eagles did in terms of getting rid of a locker room issue guy like Hassan Reddick. I like what the Eagles have done top to bottom. Howie Roseman is easily the NFL's best GM. He is the Danny Ainge of the NFL in terms of the fact that he has managed to win almost every single deal that he does. And you look at how Howie Roseman was able to acquire Jahan Dotson for very little. And the reason why I'm so high on Jahan Dotson being successful for the Eagles is because he's going to see a lot of one-on-one matchups. Like what Dan Orlovsky was saying at the beginning of this video, Jahan Dotson is going to see plenty of man coverage looks. And what does Jahan Dotson excel at? Speed. And if you can manage to use your speed to your advantage, you're going to get open a lot. And trust me, Jahan Dotson is going to be open a lot. It's just on Jalen Hurts to make sure he sees Jahan Dotson getting open and that he doesn't always have to force feed the ball to AJ Brown or Devonta Smith, because this Philadelphia Eagles offense is loaded with weapons. They've also got Nick Sirianni. He's not necessarily a good head coach, but he's not necessarily a bad head coach either. As long as Nick Sirianni keeps the game basic for the Philadelphia Eagles offense, they're going to be just fine. I'm not worried about the Philadelphia Eagles whatsoever. You look at how AJ Brown, he's going to now have more opportunities for one-on-one coverage. Obviously, we know that AJ Brown is an absolute monster. And of course, you've got Devonta Smith, who is one of the fastest receivers in the entire National Football League. You look at how now he's going to have opportunities for more one-on-one coverage, and really it's on Jahan Dotson to make sure that he gets open with his opportunities. That way it's going to open up opportunities for the other receivers on the Philadelphia Eagles. You look at how Dallas Goedert can also be a security blanket for Jalen Hurts. As far as how I see the Philadelphia Eagles doing in terms of win-loss record, I got them going 12-5. They're going to win the NFC East division. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a cakewalk run, but I think they're going to win their division rather comfortably. And I believe they are going to win a playoff game this upcoming season. I believe they will defeat the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC wild card round. And then ultimately, I got them losing in the NFC divisional round. They'll probably lose to a team like the San Francisco 49ers, a team that is also considered to be stacked in the NFC. We'll see what happens though. I'm really excited to see this Philadelphia Eagles offense this upcoming season because I know Jalen Hurts is set up for success. They're going to be able to run the football at a high level, and they're also going to be able to throw the football at a high level. And of course, the Philadelphia Eagles defense also got better as well. They are one of the better teams in the NFC, and you got to give Howie Roseman a lot of credit for being able to construct a roster filled with super teams written all over it. You look at how offensively they're stacked. You look at how defensively they're pretty good in there too. And of course, the special teams for the Philadelphia Eagles is also pretty good as well. So I'm really excited to see what Eagles football is going to be looking like this upcoming season. Do I think they can kind of start out slow? Maybe. That might be a little bit of a concern for me, considering the fact that the Eagles supporting cast has not necessarily played a whole lot with each other. But I think by the end of the year, they're going to be one of the best teams in the NFC, and they cannot find a way to lose games because they're just going to keep winning games with their amazing offense. I'm really excited to see what Jalen Hurts can do. I really think that he has a chance to be an MVP candidate this upcoming season. I'm not going to say he will be an MVP candidate, but I think that he could at times become one of the best football players in the National Football League for the 2024 NFL season. We all know Jalen Hurts has the clutch gene written in him as well. So we'll see what happens. I'm really excited to see what the Eagles are going to be all about this upcoming season. For Howie Roseman to be able to scam the Washington Commanders the way they did, kudos to him for once again winning another trade, because that's why Howie Roseman is the best general manager in the National Football League. So that is why Jahan Dotson will become successful on the Eagles, as the Eagles offense right now is absolutely loaded from top to bottom. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I'm gonna shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinStran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinStran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinStran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.